Nearly a year after the death of George Floyd, an incident that drew international attention, the trial of the officer charged with his death is underway. Young asylum seekers being sheltered at the convention center, how local groups are working to make their stay a little easier. And a local officer getting national recognition for a daring rescue off Sunset Cliffs. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Giving you a live look outside the courthouse in Minnesota where the trial of former police officer Derek Chauvin started this morning. Intense interest in this trial, which comes nearly a year after the death of George Floyd. That sparked nationwide protests and unrest over the summer. I'm Virginia Chow. Thanks so much for joining us. Opening statements wrapped up in just the last couple of hours. The prosecution began by playing the entire 9-minute video showing Chauvin kneeling on Floyd's neck. Chauvin is charged with second and third degree murder and manslaughter, and he's facing the possibility of decades in prison. ABC's Ike Ajachi is in Minneapolis with the latest.
Today, opening statements in the trial of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer who was seen kneeling on the neck of George Floyd, did so for over 9 minutes and 20 seconds, according to prosecutors. Chauvin is facing manslaughter, second and third degree murder charges. He's pleaded not guilty to all of them. And today, we're hearing the prosecution and defense teams lay out their cases for the first time. The state, which has the burden of proving Chauvin's guilt, making its case against the former police officer.
The evidence is going to show you that there was no cause in the first place to use lethal force against a man who was defenseless, who was handcuffed, who was not resisting.
Derek Chauvin did exactly what he had been trained to do over the course of his 19-year career. The use of force is not attractive, but it is a necessary component of policing.
The trial will focus on exactly how Floyd died. The medical examiner stating Floyd suffered cardiopulmonary arrest, while fentanyl and other drugs were found in his system. The defense expected to make the case that those drugs and his untreated heart condition caused his death, not Chauvin. The jury, consisting of 14 people, including alternates. The group is diverse with 5 men and 9 women, 4 who identify as black, 2 who identify as multiracial. The rest, white.
No KKK, no racist US.
Floyd's death sparking international outrage while starting a conversation about race and policing in the U.S. Earlier this month, the city of Minneapolis settling with Floyd's family for a record $27 million. Money relatives say could never heal the wounds of a lost family member.
$27 million is just money. I'll never get my brother back.
And this morning, Floyd's family, their attorneys, and Reverend Al Sharpton taking a knee outside the courthouse for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And the city's mayor says security will be heightened throughout the duration of the trial, which is expected to last around 1 month. All 4 police officers involved have been fired. Ike Ajachi, ABC News, Minneapolis.
Meanwhile, local community advocates and legal analysts are also keeping a close eye on the Chauvin trial. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell shows us what they expect to happen and what complex legal issues could come up.
Members of the jury.
As the Derek Chauvin trial unfolds, community activists in San Diego say they're making a point to keep up with all of the developments. Tasha Williamson believes the outcome goes beyond a guilty or not guilty verdict.
This trial will dictate whether or not police in the future will get away with this type of brutal murder of Black men. This trial will set a precedence, letting police officers know that either it will not be tolerated or that it is acceptable.
But criminal defense attorney David Shapiro says it's not that cut and dry.
So they're going to look at the autopsy. They're going to look at fentanyl use. They're going to look at an underlying heart condition. They're going to look at a recent diagnosis of COVID. They're going to look at all of these things and then some to argue that even if Chauvin was one of the potential causes, he wasn't the only cause beyond a reasonable doubt.
In the weeks and months following the death of George Floyd, the local Black Lives Matter organization participated in a number of rallies in San Diego, voicing their concerns about injustice and police brutality, and they're hoping justice will prevail in the courtroom.
Have an expectation that the jury will see the footage of him committing the act, will recognize that it is him who has committed the act, and will find him guilty.
But Shapiro adds it will be up to the jury to decide if they can convict beyond a reasonable doubt.
Is that evidence enough beyond a reasonable doubt to convict Derek Chauvin of second-degree murder, convict him of third-degree murder, or convict him of second-degree manslaughter? No matter what we as the public may think is the appropriate outcome, it's going to be the law, it's going to be the evidence that gets in before that jury.
Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
Well, the first group of teenagers seeking asylum arrived this weekend in San Diego, and any minute now they'll be joined by another group of girls who will be bused to the convention center. ABC 10 News anchor Mary McKenzie has been reaching out to organizations that are working with the federal government to provide help and services to the hundreds of teen girls now staying at the convention center. Hi there, Mary.
Good morning, yeah, Virginia. The donations, the offers to help, they're pouring in from all over the county for these migrant girls who are at the convention center. There's so many people in San Diego who have been reaching out to ABC 10 News. I talked to a woman in San Marcos just this morning. She has a generous group of neighbors who are looking to send supplies and try to offer assistance to the girls.
We live in a very generous community, and we just wanted to help. And last week I heard the story and I'm like, okay, time to rev up again.
There are a number of local organizations too offering help. I think I've been on the phone with virtually all of them today, including the Kearny Mesa Children's Initiative, which packed backpacks full of hygiene products and purchased new clothes for the girls. The Episcopal Diocese of San Diego, it's now working on plans for Good Friday and Easter to support the girls spiritually. South Bay Community Services, the YMCA too are assisting. And the Chicano Federation said this morning they're working on a plan today. They'd have more information as to how people could help later today. That seems to be the theme as organizations begin to offer services, and they'll be needed as more girls are arriving today to the convention center to join the 500 who got here late Saturday night. These are teenage girls, they're ages 13 to 17, and the convention center can shelter as many as 1,500 girls until mid-July as the federal government works to connect them with sponsors or family members. Another group reaching out to help is the San Diego Loyal. They say they're donating about 40 brand new soccer balls to help brighten the girls' day.
They're part of San Diego, so together we're going to help one another. Regardless of what's going on, we're definitely going to be there to support. If it's as simple as donating some soccer balls, just to give them a good time while they're enjoying something that they really know and something that they like to be around, that's what we're going to do.
Nice to hear. Reporting live from home, Mary McKenzie, ABC 10 News.
Thank you, Mary. San Diego beaches packed yesterday. Spring breaks are underway. As you know, lifeguards are expecting those crowds to keep coming thanks to the time off and the nice weather. Businesses along the water say they have seen a boost already. Spring break coinciding with San Diego's move into a less restrictive tier, but officials are cautioning everyone not to let their guard down.
We've learned what can happen if you open too quickly or if you loosen restrictions too quickly, especially after the Thanksgiving and Hanukkah and Christmas surge upon a surge. And I think people are a little more cautious now. They don't want to see that happen again.
They say it is important while you're out having fun to still practice things like social distancing and wearing a mask. Well, more students returning to the classroom in Carlsbad today. Last week, the Carlsbad Unified School Board approved allowing high school and middle school students to return to class 5 days a week starting today. Carlsbad Unified already started bringing some students back to campus in different groups 2 days a week. The district says they will continue to follow health guidelines on campus, including wearing masks and social distancing. Well, this is new today. Just 2 days before it was set to expire, the CDC extending its eviction moratorium through June. They say evictions during the pandemic can pose a health risk because they drive people into congregating at shelters or into denser living situations. Here, both the city of San Diego and the county have launched rental assistance programs for people struggling with payments. Meanwhile, the mayor's office announcing changes to how the city of San Diego handles homeless encampments. There are some changes here. They're highlighting which they say are aimed at a more compassionate approach. They'll hold off on any cleanups or enforcement against homeless camps during inclement weather. They're going to make notices ahead of encampment cleanups more clear and consistent. And they say they're going to work to coordinate outreach with cleanups to help offer people in need access to services. A San Diego officer receiving national recognition for a heroic rescue last year. Do you remember this story in June, SDPD's Jonathan Weiss leaping into action after this truck went over Sunset Cliffs right into the water. Officer Weiss used a dog leash to rappel down and save the driver and the man's 2 young children. Well, now Officer Weiss has been selected to receive the Carnegie Medal, which is one of the highest honors for civilian heroism. The organization behind the award gives out grants to winners and the people they have helped.